l'Icon V premieremo la miglior graphic novel. E la miglior graphic novel è La mia cosa preferita sono i mostri di Emil Ferris. Però non andiamo via subito perché abbiamo un video saluto.
I don't do this very often. When I go into when I'm working on the book, I have a very hard time talking to people because I go so far into the world of the book, and it's a completely different mindset to actually communicate with humans as opposed to monsters. There's no difference. But my monsters are mine, and now you've made yourself mine too. Which one of you did this to me and gave me this award? I'm looking right at you now. Thank you. It means a lot to me. I hope I get to meet you and shake your hand, or tentacle, or claw. The biggest thing that when you give me this, the biggest thing that you've given me, you already gave me. Not to say I don't love this, but the really big thing is that you read the book and you took Karen into your heart. And that's what every author wants, is they want readers who will just embrace the world that they've created and allow their absolutely beautiful, rich, faceted imagination. I want to come visit you, and I'm hoping that that can happen soon. I know I've taken a long time with this. Probably everybody's like, oh, God, oh, this woman, shut up. But I'm like that aunt who's actually a witch and is going to come and stay with your family. Are you excited? Or, I hope it's fun. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much for this. I don't have it right now, but when I can hold it, I'll send you a picture of me holding it. Thanks. One of the things that I had to keep in mind while I was doing it is who my protagonist is. And of course it's me in so many ways. But one of the things I got when I was maybe 8 years old was a children's book. And the children's book was called My Name is Lion. And it was about a Navajo boy who is handed lined paper. And he says in it, when you're handed lined paper, write against the lines. Because this is a prison. And the experience of her life is that she is female. She is part Native American. She's part Mexican. She's part hillbilly. These are not things in the United States that are particularly respected origins. She knows that. She knows that she is poor. She knows that she doesn't fit in because she loves monsters and likes girls. So she can't write inside the lines. She has to challenge that. She has to be free. And this book is like from the perspective of her own freedom. And that was what was really the most important. So when I considered doing it any other way, I couldn't. I loved horror comics. I still do. The best thing that happened to me was the first time the book sold. There's a long history of the book selling to people. But the first time it sold, the woman who bought it very kindly gave me a sizable amount of money. And I used that to support myself while I worked on the book. Literally the first thing I did is I went on eBay and bought every horror comic that I'd ever had as a kid. And it was the most glorious thing to get them in the mail. I mean, it really made me happy. And they were really important to me. Them, the Twilight Zone, you know, the Outer Limits, Dark Shadows. I was in love. I was in love with Dark Shadows, utterly in love with it. So all of those things, and Mad Magazine. And Mad was interesting. You know, Mad wasn't perfect, but it had so many great things about it. It was possible to see different styles. Well, I saw it when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. I saw the Wolfman on television. Creature Features was called, 10:30 at night, and I just remember weeping for him. You know, I was very moved by his plight, and I thought, well, why didn't he just turn the girl, and why didn't she want to be turned so they could be together? I mean, it seemed like the absolute right solution to everybody's problem. And, but it wasn't a solution at all. And I couldn't figure that out. I remember thinking, no, this is just all wrong. This is the way the world is, but it isn't the way it should be. And why are they so angry at him? Because he can't help any of this. You know, why do they want to kill him? Why wouldn't they want to help him? Because he's in the sway of something more powerful than he is, you know? And I guess to some degree, I had cousins who were grappling with drug addiction and alcoholism, and I saw that same attitude, that it was criminalized instead of them being loved and understood as being really creative and far too sensitive for the society they were in, you know. I've never seen myself as part of any scene. I would enter parties as a kid, you know, and I would be the person who was on the outside of everything, watching it, wondering when it would end and I could leave. I have never been on the inside of anything. So it's weird for me to be on the inside of this. I actually could fill a small filing cabinet with the number of rejection letters I've received for everything in my whole life. I wanted to make pinball machines. That's the thing I loved the most when I was a kid. I loved pinball. And I went with a portfolio and I applied, and I was told that the guys, this was at Bally, the guys would not feel comfortable cutting loose around a woman. So they said, yeah, you'd do great. We'd love your work, but no, you're not going to be able to do it. And I thought that might be the only place I could fit in. And I didn't fit there, you know, I've never fit in. And it's okay. Look how cool it is now that I don't, you know what I mean? It's like, it's fine, it's okay. I'm really concerned about any system that tells you what to be afraid of, you know? I also am concerned about any system that encourages fear or shame. I think that if we want to have really strong, enduring faith traditions, they have to help us negotiate fear and shame in a positive way. And I think that they can do this. There is a tradition of mysticism within most faiths that is actually really, really worthwhile, and that I draw tremendous, and you see Karen draws tremendous strength from. I mean, you're not going to get monsters in Protestantism, although they're there. But Catholicism has monsters. It has wonder. It has things that you just can't imagine how amazing they are. I mean, you've got a dog saint, a wolf saint. You've got giants. You've got all kinds of great stuff in this faith. And I can't dispense with it, because I think the mysticism is still worth something. It is to me. I have an emotional response when I go into a church. I do. And I pray. I do. think I was really fortunate that despite the fact that and it does link to the disability because I couldn't walk when I was very young. So I drew, and I was lucky that I had parents who valued that and encouraged that and provided me inspiration and books and trips to the museum. It was like our second home. And I spent an awful lot of time in gallery openings and museums. And for me, that culture was really important. It's how I developed a language to describe things that were human things, was through these great paintings. And that's pretty much what I wanted to give people through the book. I wanted them to know that this was part of their heritage and that the museum is not it's not a classist place. It doesn't have to be. It can belong to everyone. And there's something about the fact that it's a translation from this painting into something that is very non-threatening. It's Bic pen. It's very homey. Everybody sees and understands those lines. They aren't threatening. They aren't so storied, and it isn't oil paint on a canvas. There's not a guard there telling you have to step back. This is something you can get very close to and really examine. And I wanted that again for us, because I know for me it meant so much. That's a longer arc than this second book will allow. There's a lot more coming. I should just say that, but I can't be too explicit right now. But Karen is going to go dark in so many ways. I mean, what the second book opens on is her essentially being facing the mortality of the only person left in her family, which is her brother. And that's tremendously difficult for a kid, to be in a world that isn't particularly welcoming and to try to find their way. So it's not going to be easy, and it's going to get dark. It's going to get darker than you'd thought, and I'm not sure you're going to like it, but it's going to get darker than you could have imagined. And that's what has to happen. Paris is a culture that understands and respects literature and the visual, and I think it has, I was talking to somebody who's Parisian, and she said, all of our greatness is in the past. That's what she said to me, and I thought, no, I bet it isn't. I bet it isn't. I bet you have something to tell a world that is stuck inside of their little phones. I bet you have something to explain to the world about how to live and have joy. And I think that, maybe it's arrogant of me, a Chicagoan, to think that I could translate that, but I'm going to try. Because it's the heritage of museum going and literature is so important to me. It saved my life. It made my life worth something to me. And I think in the absence of it, I don't think it would have meant as much to me. And I don't think it means as much to anyone. So that's part of what I think Paris has to give the world. But there are other things I haven't even found yet. We have a history of believing that there are alligators in the sewers, and I'm looking at this alligator over here and thinking there are untold things in the city of Paris that I want to find. I want to find the alligators in the sewers. I want to find the myths that are on the verge of not being told anymore, and I want to find a few secrets.